Give me a hell yeah if you agree that Adam Carriker has the largest arms on the D-line.
Hell yeah!
Give me a hell yeah if you think that Chuck Carroll is pound for pound the greatest weight loss champion of all time.
Oh, hell yeah!
And give me a hell yeah if you agree that Fourth and Pain is the best show on God's green earth under the yellow blue hot sun.
Hell to the yeah. There is no doubt. You're listening to Fourth and Pain with Washington Redskins defensive end Adam Carriker. Be sure to give the show a follow at Fourth and Pain, where we tweet out new content each and every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Adam, wrestling segment. Lots to do in the WWE. John Cena about to come back at Hell in the Cell pay-per-view. Some say he's coming back too soon. That's a debate for another day. What I want to ask you right now, my oversized friend, is John Cena having an effect in the WWE like Hulk Hogan had in TNA? Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, is he keeping the other talent down while he's on top? Adam, your thoughts?
Well, my smaller than average sized co-host, the answer to that is not having a Hulk Hogan effect. What he's having is a John Cena effect, and the difference is this. He's not holding everybody down. To me, he is holding pro wrestling back, because the heyday of pro wrestling was the Attitude Era, when The Rock, when Stone Cold were allowed to be themselves. This new Rock that comes out, and I call him a new Rock because he's more of a censored Rock. Now, he swears from time to time, and I'm not advocating that you have to do that, but that's who The Rock is. That's who Stone Cold was. That's who he is. That's what makes him great. John Cena, when he was the doctor of Thugonomics, he did it all the time, or he'd at least let the fans do it for him. He has ushered in this PG era. He is the poster child. He is the face of this PG era, and as a result, they're drawing in all these little kids. Well, you bring in little kids, that makes it so no other wrestler can do these things. It makes it so TNA, you can see that they're holding back. Bully Ray, in a lot of his promos, he'll say crap instead of what he would normally say. And once again, you don't have to swear. What I'm saying is he's ushered in this era that if you're not an 8-year-old child or a preteen girl who has a huge crush on this 35-year-old man, then you're not interested. And it's killing the ratings because nobody will admit that they watch wrestling anymore. Every guy we interview on this show, all they say is, I watched it before 2002. I watched it during the Attitude Era, the NWO era. Now, maybe the next generation will be that much better for it, but right now, the lifelong wrestling fans, such as yourself and myself, don't enjoy the product as an overall whole because of this PG crap, and he is the poster child, the face of it. So I think he's holding all of pro wrestling back. Not any wrestlers in particular, just all of pro wrestling.
Yeah, and I'm kind of going to be a heel just by saying this, but I smell what you're cooking there, Carriker. The bottom line is, as long as he's out there granting 18 million Make-A-Wishes, now that's wonderful. I highly encourage everybody to get involved with that organization. The issue with this is pro wrestling. It needs to be edgy. It needs to have that umph to it. It needs to have that testosterone driven ass kicking in your face over the top type of entertainment that we had pre 2002 when everybody we have on the show was talking about pro wrestling. But you trumpet out the fact that he grants so many Make-A-Wish things, and it's fluffy to me. I love the fact that he doesn't do it privately. It doesn't need to be the champion of your organization. It doesn't need to be the substance of your pro wrestling show. When I think about pro wrestling, Adam, I think about people getting their faces beaten. I think about razor blades, chairs, tables, barbed wire, good old-fashioned sharpshooters, for God's sakes. I don't think about this warm and fuzzy freaking sing-along. John Cena just can kiss my Rudy Poo candy ass.
All right, buddy. All right. Yeah, all right, buddy. All right. You know what? Let me clarify this, because I'm not saying you have to swear or do anything of that nature, because before the Attitude Era, during the cartoon era, when Hogan was wrestling Andre the Giant, so on and so forth, wrestling was very popular. I'm not saying you have to do it. What I'm saying is he's making it so nobody else can do it. And I do want to clarify, I actually am a huge fan of John Cena, the person. I've said this before. Huge fan. I love the Make-A-Wish stuff. To me, that is more important than what he does in the ring. But I am talking purely as a wrestling fan. As a wrestling fan, I don't appreciate this. As a human being, I love him. My wife is a huge fan of him. I hope my kids get to meet him someday, because he is someone my kids can meet, and he's someone my kids will enjoy watching. But as a wrestling fan, that's the problem. I'm not a little kid.
You summed it up in 30 seconds when it took me 3 minutes and a damn near undecipherable just
We knew
diatribe
what
there.
you meant. We knew what you meant. When you get frustrated. It happens. You're a human being, man. I got your back.
Well, let's talk about this, okay? We're talking about he's holding pro wrestling as a whole down, but you know what? In this time off, we were kind of expecting, we talked about this in August, some guys on the WWE roster were naturally going to rise to the top in John Cena's absence, but we haven't seen that. Who are some of the guys that you were expecting would have taken that next step without the poster boy there, but have only kind of been meddling in the middle?
I think WWE's just been biding their time, doing what they can to get by until Cena gets back. The people who should have stepped up, number one is Ryback. Can the guy just win a match on the weekend at some point, please? And I would love Goldberg. I know you were talking. I know you may not listen to the show. You may not hear, but you just might because we are buds. If you're talking to WWE, please come back. I want to see a Ryback spear at WrestleMania. Please make it happen. I know you're not the same as you were 10, 12, 15 years ago when you wrestled. I don't care. I want to see it. Next, Alberto Del Rio. You'll find out throughout the course of this week that he is my least favorite wrestler of all time. The guy, admittedly, is doing much better this time around as a heel with the belt than he was the first time, but that's only because he has nowhere to go but up. He's like the 0-16 Detroit Lions. The following year, winning one game was better, and so he had nowhere to go but win that one game. The last guy is Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler, I actually like him better as a face. I don't know why. He's more of a heel mentality. I think it's this 80s attire that he wears to the ring, this bright colors. It reminds me of the cartoon era. And for some reason, I dig that back to a time when I enjoyed wrestling a little bit more. So maybe that's why I enjoy him a little bit more. But he hasn't taken that step into being a main event guy that could take on a Rock or a Cena at WrestleMania or challenge the Undertaker's streak. And he is one of those guys that talks about all he does is steal the show. Well, you're very good, you're very entertaining, but you haven't stolen the show enough to become a main event guy at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree with you on Ryback. I want to circle back. That's one of the guys that was also on my list. I think that he's a guy that naturally we thought was going to take that step forward. And again, it just doesn't seem like the WWE has any interest.
Will Paul Heyman help him do that? Being a Heyman guy, will that help him do that? That's my logical question for you.
It's not going to hurt him, but I don't think it's going to get him to that elite level where I thought that he was going to be this time a year ago. Who else, coincidentally, is on my list is Curtis Axel, who's just been kind of floundering one step below mediocrity at this point. He's kind of fallen off the face of the earth. His feud with CM Punk kind of just absolutely went nowhere. That was supposed to catapult him into success. And you know, where the freak is Curtis Axel? I don't know. I'm going to send out a search party. And The Miz. You have all of this charisma in the world. You have captivated television audiences for more than a decade. A superstar of reality television. You can capture the audience, captivate it like no other. You, sir, should be taking that next step. Granted, it's not all on you, but get in the ears of the powers that be because you need to be the future of WWE. Adam Carriker, Chuck Carroll here on Fourth and Pain. Just a couple of minutes left, 1 minute to be exact. Looking ahead to TNA Bound for Glory, switching gears a little bit. Bully Ray versus AJ Styles. They signed a contract for Bound for Glory. They didn't fight at the end of Impact this week, but they did have quite the stare down. Bully Ray also getting into it with Magnus a little bit, and then Magnus and Sting. What do you kind of make of all of this mess, Adam?
You just want to talk about this because you predicted that AJ Styles would win the Bound for Glory, and you, sir, just want to gloat. I don't blame you. I'm happy for you. But I want to talk about Sting's contract being up. We're going to discuss this a little bit more in the family segment. We've got a question about it. But if I think they're setting up for him to leave TNA, I want to see Sting. I want to see Undertaker. They're not going to have Sting beat Taker and break the streak, but I don't care. Let the hair grow long. Put on the white paint. Be the Crow Sting. Come out of the rafters. And I want to see him in the Taker at WrestleMania.
I just want to see Sting in a WWE ring one time. I just want to see him wrestle one match. That would be awesome. And it's WrestleMania 30. It's a huge one. You got to do it.
Preach.
Now or never.
Hallelujah.
We're fresh out of time on this segment. Of course, more wrestling always on fourthandpain.com. Don't go anywhere. More of this edition of Fourth and Pain coming right back. Weight loss champion Chuck Carroll here with your weight loss tip of the week. And your weight loss tip is get those Z's. You see, not getting the proper night's sleep can make people gain weight and eat more calories because your brain goes a little bit cuckoo without the rest. When you haven't had a full night's rest, you crave more fatty foods. And why? Quite literally because you're not able to make the rational decisions because you're sleep deprived. Plus, it's a double hit. You have no control. And you have those wicked bad cravings, and naturally you will eat more because you are awake longer. So get some sleep and keep dreaming about becoming a weight loss champion.